Shalom, Yasharallah. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and ever will. And salutation and much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article real fast, which is going on between, America and their allies and things like that. But just like the prophecies are speaking, all right, the prophecies are, how do I say, speaking loud and clear in these times in the days that we're living in right now, all right, because of the fact of, we're getting closer and closer to the end. So just like the contractions, all right, this is how it was, metaphorically given to us, all right, as the signs. But let's read this article. We're going to read through it kind of quick. It says, Turkey is straddling a fine line between being friend or foe to the U.S., EU, and NATO, all right. I just did a video on this the other day, speaking on to these things, whereas, it was a situation going on between Israel and, it happened in Syria, all right, but it was between Israel and Iran. But the people that stood up to condemn them was Russia, Iran, and Turkey, all right. But let's go into this article. It says, Turkey has violated UN resolution by opening portions of occupied Cyprus to development while providing security for the U.S. withdrawal in Afghanistan and NATO's eastern flank. How long can it sustain this Jekyll and Hyde act? Turkey seems conflicted over which role it wants to play when it comes to its U.S., EU, and NATO allies. In June, Turkey offered to maintain its military presence in Afghanistan, currently consisting of a battalion of about 500 soldiers who secure and operate the military's section of Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul. Kabul's airport is Afghanistan's primary commercial airport. It also serves as a military base and is viewed as a critical piece of strategic infrastructure connecting Afghanistan to the rest of the world. Moreover, the airport is deemed critical to its logistical and security viability to the 600 U.S. soldiers who are expected to remain in Kabul to secure the U.S. embassy following the withdrawal of the U.S. military mission in August. Turkey's commitment to secure the airport is not free from risk. Indeed, it puts Turkey in a difficult position of souring decades of warm relations with the Afghan people should the mission turn violent. All right, see, America's using their allies as proxies between different factions that they have going on out there. All right, whereas the blowback, ultimately, the puppet master is America, but the blowback, the people that's closest around is to them. All right, the people that will really be feeling these, again, the blowback from it would be people that's in the region, all right, which is Turkey. America is far from this area over here. It says, earlier this month, Turkey developed a small Air Force detachment consisting of 4 F-16 fighters and some 80 support personnel to Malbork Air Base in northern Poland. This deployment, scheduled to last through mid-September, is Turkey's second contribution to NATO's Baltic Air Policing mission. This posturing began in 2014 in response to Russia's involvement in the Crimean and Donbass region of Ukraine. Ostensibly, the development is designed to enhance cooperation and interoperability between Turkey and its NATO allies. The posture, in reality, is designed to deter Russian military aggression in the region. All right. But Turkey's status as a NATO ally of good standing is suspect of late. Last year, the U.S. imposed sanctions in part of Turkey's military procurement network of retaliation for their purchase of the S-400 surface-to-air missiles from Russia. All right, which, I go into this all the time. And, basically the reasons why you don't want to have these two items side by side, because Turkey has some not F-16s. Slipped my mind now. Not the F-16, but they have a newer plane than that. But nevertheless, going back into this, the S-400 can pretty much pick up on that because it's a stealth fighter, all right? It can pick up on it and scan its radar and its capabilities, its computer systems and things like that, all right, and ultimately render it useless, all right? It says, Turkey's ongoing support for Libyan rebels opposing the international recognized government of the nation put on a collision course with the French Navy, which attempted to interdict what they claim to be a illegal Turkish arms shipment in violation with the UN resolution. A Turkey decision to delineate a maritime border with Libya, thereby expanding Turkey's territorial claims in the eastern Mediterranean Sea, have put it at odds with the European Union and other um, littoral nations in the Mediterranean area, right? When it comes to the divvying up of considerable oil and gas reserves believed to be located beneath the waters, it is through the kaleidoscope of competing motivations and actions that Turkey's most recent provocations, including the statement made by Turkish President Recep Erdogan during a recent visit to Nicosia, the divided capital of Cyprus, must be viewed and assessed. While in the capital, to mark the 47th anniversary of the Turkish invasion and occupied of northern Cyprus, Erdogan announced that peace talks on the island could only take place between the two states which claimed territory on the island, and the involvement of the United Nations had therefore run its course. All right, so going into certain things, because they have this, they have their own situations over here going on with Greece and them, and or Cyprus. All right, but nevertheless, they have their ongoing problems with that America's pretty much trying to step into, or the UN, which is basically headed by America. All right, and these Edomites. Right, you also have the S-400 situation. All right, you also have the what do they call the Kurds situation, where basically America is arming them as their so-called moderate rebels, which Turkey sees as a terrorist to their nation. All right, let me jump down a little bit. It says how long the Jekyll and Hyde nature of the Turkish relations with the U.S., EU, and NATO can continue is anyone's guess, but so long as the geopolitical interests of Turkey clash with its perceived role as a source of regional strength and security for NATO and the EU, then this complicated blend of friends and foe will continue to exist. This suggests that Turkey's ability to irate its regional partners through unilateral actions are for the moment offset by its strategic role in securing NATO's volatile southern flank. But in this ever-changing world, nothing lasts forever. All right, and let me go ahead and grab some of these prophecies. But as the prophecies speak loud and clear, which we'll start out with that, you can see how these things are all coming together, man. All right. Well, I'll just grab this first. This is Habakkuk 2 and 3. It says, for the vision, all right, which is going into these prophecies, the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. All right, and part of these visions, which we'll probably close out on the same precept, all right, is going into, basically how in the end all be all, you're going to have a third world war, which is going to be headed between Russia and America, all right, but which we'll grab in this here lesson. All right, America's allies are pretty much going to wind up turning on America, all right, and they're going to wind up, taking part in basically spoiling America, all right. In fact, let me go ahead and grab that first real quick, and Revelation 17 and 16, all right. Let me see. Well, let me start at verse 15. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So when you go back up to the top, it's talking about this whore that's riding upon the beast. All right, let me grab that real quick to go into it. It says, verse 3, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. All right, so going into this here whore riding upon this here beast, what it's basically talking about, the whore would be a representation of America. All right, and the beast would be a representation of basically NATO and the EU. All right, and we pretty much speak of those as the same thing, but when you technically go into it, all right, you have the EU, the European Union. All right, Turkey's not a part of the EU. America's not part of the EU. Canada's not part of the EU. You see what I'm saying? But these nations are all a part of NATO. All right, so it's pretty much the same thing. It's like you got America, Canada, and Turkey are in NATO. All right, and then to add along with that, you have the EU. All right, to make up NATO and the EU. All right, but nevertheless, that beast, all right, which is talking about NATO and the EU. all right, is being controlled, all right, just like you have a horse and a horse rider. The horse is being controlled by the rider, all right, and the rider would be this here whore, which is talking about America. Now let's jump back down to verse 15 again. And he said unto me, the whore which thou sawest, or Salak, and he said unto me, the water which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are people, multitudes and nations and tongues, which is America, because it's at the top of everybody else. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, all right, which is basically like we were just going into NATO and the EU. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So ultimately, they're going to wind up turning on America, man. All right, all of America's allies are going to pretty much turn and wind up taking America out. Let's grab that in Obadiah, as a matter of fact. Obadiah 1:7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have bought thee even to the border. All right, so the men that was in league with you, you know, the ones that you was in, you know, you had a contract or you was in consent with. Are we on the same team? All right, all of the men of thy confederacy have bought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee, and they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there's no understanding in him. So Turkey, being a nation that was at peace with America, is pretty much still at peace with America, you know, even though they're on a rocky road, a rocky relationship. All right, they're at peace with one another because they deal with, you know, America has a lot of its military equipment over there, staging grounds over there. The F-35 is the name of the plane. You have basically Turkey being a part of that F-35 program, all right? But nevertheless, at the end all be all, you know, like the scripture and the prophecy say, all right, at the end it's going to speak and not lie. We seeing these things start to deteriorate. We starting to see that America's allies are starting to turn on them right now, all right? Let me grab another precept real quick because I had I'm over here at work real quick. What about Ezekiel? All right, real quick. We'll have to close out after this. But nevertheless, this is Ezekiel chapter 38. I'm going to start at verse 3. It says, and say, thus saith Yahweh power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy army, horses and horsemen, and all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company, with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, and house of Tomagah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with them, with thee. All right, so let's even prophesy here who's going to be in that coalition of nations that's going to come up against America. All right, even though, you know, like the scriptures say, you know, though it tarry, wait for it, because at the end it shall speak and not lie. Even though you may see them as being allies at this point in time, all right, as the prophecies say, they're going to wind up joining hand in hand with Russia, all right, and coming to take America out. All right, they're not going to be on the same playing field as, you know, oh, we're buddies, we're allies, you guys helped us out, you guys built this up, gave us weaponry and all these different things. No, they're going to be looking at what's the best benefit for them. All right, and you can also see the same thing stirring up with countries like Germany and France as well too. You know, they're not really you know, they're starting to look the other way of what's really going to benefit them as a nation more than what's benefiting them as far as being partners with you know, in the NATO bloc, more or less to say. All right, so these nations are now starting to sober up from this Babylonian juice and seeing that they've pretty much got the short end of the stick, and ultimately they're going to wind up turning on America and then wind up you know, shooting missiles on this here place and burning it with fire. All right, and verse 7 says, be thou prepared to prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be a guard unto them. And this is part of the things that, like we was reading up a little bit further up about the helmets, the shields, and all these different things, these defense systems. All right, this is one of the things that set America and Turkey on a rocky road relationship between them having those F-35s and also being an F-35 program. All right, and then them taking delivery of the S-400. All right, that pretty much put a bad taste in America's mouth, man. They condemned them, put sanctions on them, and then they retaliated, put sanctions back on them, on America, but then they pretty much just dropped every damn thing, and, you know, they try to, how do I say, calm things down and everything like that, man. But ultimately, it's all according to the scriptures. It's all according to prophecy. And we'll close out with that, like I said, in Habakkuk 2 and 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry, and that's what you're seeing happening right now. These prophecies are speaking loud and clear, all right? Even though a couple years ago you couldn't see these things, you couldn't see NATO and the EU starting to break apart from each other, you know, hell, not too long ago, what, 10, like maybe 20-some years ago, you had the EU was pretty much born, the European Union or whatever was born at that point in time. But then you have them already starting to break apart with like the Brexit, and then other nations trying to break away and everything else like that, man. All right, you seeing these American allies, that was going hard, in 2001. All right, back in America, going over into the Middle East. Now they all waking up and it's like, yo, y'all just destabilize our whole region. Some of them, like Turkey, y'all done destabilize the whole region and causing more pain, sorrow, and grief in these areas where it was kind of chill at. Now it's got so-called terrorists running rampant everywhere over here, man. All right, but nevertheless, they're starting to wake up from this Babylonian juice. All right, and they're starting to see, who's the real enemy, who's the real problem. All right, and they're starting to choose sides. All right, but I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah Bahashim Rakak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and ever will. And citation, much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth, and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.